What's going on, family? It's your boy Joe, and I'm hoping that everybody's enjoying your day. I just wanted to take a moment. Just wanted to share a little bit of a reflection that I had, and I know that 2020 has been a crazy time, but for me personally, 2019, 2020 didn't have anything on 2019 for me. For those of you who may know me personally, 2019 represented a lot of a lot of personal loss. And some of y'all who, like I said, know me would probably know what some of those losses were. But in particular, one thing that I really had to deal with was the fact that in 2019, God called me to basically leave my job. And I left my job, and I've been there for 7 years comfortably, and I liquidated my 401k to start my music studio, or to revamp my music studio. And of course, the plan was, and what my expectation was, is that God was going to flourish me and grow me, and that all of the things that God had called me to now were going to be open. And that is not what happened. In fact, to be very honest, probably within months of me making that move or following what God had called me to do, I found myself having to sell and even pawn just about all of the studio that I had been blessed with. And all along, I had been writing and doing a lot of producing, and God had been giving me, these songs and these words that He had been, dropping into my spirit. But in the midst of all that loss, and in the midst of losing all the things that I thought that God had called me to gain, I found myself questioning God. And what I ended up doing is I wrote out of that pain, and it was sincere pain. It was sincere disappointment. And what I think that really was happening, and what I've come to find, is that God had to allow me to be in that place. He had to allow that to be very real to me, because what I thought was supposed to be the success was not a part of what His real purpose was. And in fact, had I not been feeling it in such a real way, I would not have been able to write in the way that I wrote. I would not have been able to create in the way that I created. And I wouldn't have been equipped to deal with everything that was going to come forth in 2020. And what the blessing of it is that even out of all of that pain and all of that, loss, 2020 actually ended up providing an opportunity to gain all of those things back. Not only was I able to get a lot of those things and everything that I had to sell and pawn back, but I was able to even upgrade them and make improvements and revamp even more. And I only say that for this purpose, is that had I not gone through that series of events in my life in 2019, where I was going and moving in the way that God had called me, what I had perceived as failure, I had to feel in that way for me to really understand that it was just equipping me for what I needed to have as a part of my life for 2020, where I can actually really bless somebody else. If I had had that success, if I had had the things that I had thought were supposed to come out of this, move to whatever God had for me in my life, I probably would not have been in the position to be able to do what it is that I've been doing here in 2020. I wouldn't have had the need to cry out to Him in the way that I cried out to Him. I would have never had the need to ask the questions that I asked Him. And part of the reason why I'm even sharing that right now is that I want to encourage somebody today who may be in one of these seasons, and maybe even a longer season than just a year or two, where you've moved in a way that God has called you to move, but you're not seeing success in terms of what you feel it's supposed to be, or what the world will be calling success. It's not about that. Sometimes it's about the place where you are and what God is equipping you to do, and what God is equipping you to be. It doesn't mean you have to even stay in that season. There actually is going to be a point in time where you're going to be able to open up a door, or God is going to open the door that's going to allow you to flourish in a way that you're really called to do. But you have to understand that season for what it is. That's just something that was in my heart, something that I wanted to share. A lot of times in these reflections that I have, I'd like to just be, fully open about what's going on with me, because I know they can help somebody else. And that, I believe, is what we're really called to do. We might be thinking that we're called to start a studio and be some kind of music star, but that's not really what God's purpose is. What it is that He needs for you to be in a place where you can bless someone else, and that's what I needed to do, and one that I needed to learn is that it's not about the music and it's not about the success. It's about what you're called to do, and that is to minister and to help others. As always, love y'all. Glad y'all took a little bit of time to listen to me rant for